All right.
Oh, there you go. It's serious now. So my name's Anson Anderson, and I've got my own blog called Rambling Man's Reviews. So
Hey,
thanks very much for agreeing to the interview. So could you introduce yourself to the readers?
well, I'm Peter Scheider. I'm the guitar player for Last Temptation. It's actually my band with a singer. It's our second album um, for Last Temptation. I used to have bands, in the US, and now I'm in Europe and doing this European
Oh,
band.
brilliant. So what could you tell us about Last Temptation? I know you just mentioned that they're your own band. How can you tell me about how they formed?
Sure. I mean, well, it all started with this first record. We had it was more ideas I had, and songs wise, that wouldn't fit other projects I did before, and I wanted to go back to my roots. That is more like heavy rock and stuff like that. So on the first record, we had a lot of guests because a bit ego stuff. We wanted to please ourselves. So I was lucky to have a Bob Desley that agreed to do some bass on it. I did a record a long time ago with him, and same with Don Airey and Vinny Peace and all these guys. And after a while, we just realized that to tour Europe or to be ready to do anything last minute, it's very difficult to have half the band in the US and the other part, in Europe. And we decided then to change the lineup and just have a straight up European band. Agents, management, everybody, I mean, labels say that it's easier, it's practical. And of course, with COVID was a nail in the coffin, so to
Yeah,
speak.
I think it was for a lot
Like,
of people.
yeah, you're like, okay, yeah, well, I mean, imagine that happened. I mean, at least if we can travel in our own, in the European countries and everything, it's easy to have a European band that made it, that much easier, and for logistic and for money. Let's face it too. I mean, when you have to travel people from one place to the other around the world, that add to the cost right away from the tour and everything, which is already pricey. So yeah, it was all logical. For the rehearsal, we can rehearse every day, we can prepare, and you can call us last minute to have a gig because someone canceled, then we can do it, which wasn't possible with the fact that we have around the world, and it would be difficult. I mean, it would have been difficult.
So I'd say it's more convenient for yourself then. It's more manageable then.
Absolutely. I mean, for everybody actually, and it's also to build the trust of tour people. I mean, the promoters and everything. They know that we're here. I mean, imagine. I mean, suddenly, I mean, we have to be on lockdown. I mean, from one continent to the other. I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, we have to cancel everything, and then nobody's going to book us anymore because you're never sure what's going to happen. So yeah, that it was way. I mean, that was the best decision we ever made.
So say you've mentioned that you've worked with some notable musicians like Don Airey, Bob Daisley. I
Yeah.
noticed you worked with James Lomenzo and Rudy
Yes.
Sarzo with your previous album.
Yes.
So how was he able to get them to agree to be on the album, and what kind of impact did they have on your music?
Not impact wise. I mean, everybody's bringing their playing. I mean,
Yeah.
James, for instance, is just an amazing, phenomenal bass player and a great human being as well. But I mean, when you listen to his bass, to me, it was like the Who. It's like John Ashwell. I mean, it's like, wow, what are you bringing? So he's bringing, I mean, all these guys. Bob is very special on bass lines. I mean, he's very like tasteful. Like what he plays is, it's not it's not all the technical things, but it's so tasteful. I mean, it's just, so these guys, yeah, they were bringing that, and of course their touch, their experience. It was a lot of fun, working with those guys, and I don't say never. I mean, if I'm back in the States, I mean, I'm sure with James or something, we're gonna probably jam. I mean, I'm gonna see him. We're playing Hellfest this year, and he's playing with Megadeth. So we're gonna meet. We play the same day, same stage. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. I mean, it's I mean, done actually done area same day also with Purple. So that, I mean, it's the great people. They always been, they're very respectful, and I love them. I mean, I have to say that they're great people.
Yeah, it must mean a lot to be able to play with people that you idolize as well. I suppose they become your friends as well, don't they?
Oh, it's amazing. You know, I mean, like Don or Bob. I listened to records that they were, you know, as a kid, you would get influenced by these guys, and suddenly you're like, with Bob. I know it was the first record. I was like in a rehearsal room with Eric Singer and Bob Daisley. I'm like, wow, you know. I mean, even though they're playing on your record, it's like, well, I did, you know, I saw them with Gary Moore or Bob. I met him at the Donington Festival with Ozzy. So it's like, whoa, it's just crazy.
So it's like a dream come true for yourself then.
Yes, and I'm a huge fan, still fan, and I always would be fan of this music, you know. So when you play with people who made history in this music, especially Bob, yeah, it's very impressive. Or Don, you know, and it's like, whoa, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. That's
So
how
you
I
know
feel.
when you come, so you when you come around to making the album and you think about people you want to guest, do you have to be particularly specific with those people? Do you have to like make sure that they fit in with your sound?
Yes, I mean, you know, it's like writing the songs. You can tell who's gonna like it, and hopefully who's gonna not like it. I mean, you know, I mean, you never know. But you have a tendencies to feel, you know, with Boy it was a bit easier because I knew, you know, we did already work together, which the first time was not easy for me. Yeah, I mean, it's we had fights because I was a young guy, you know, when we did the record in the '90s, and you have to build respect, which I understand that, you know, he said, oh, well, Randy Rhoads wouldn't do that. I said, well, but I'm not Randy Rhoads. I mean, obviously. And, you know, and especially Bob who played, or James, these guys, or Vinny, but I mean, James and Bob, they play with amazing guitar players, you know, Ingby, Randy, Gary Moore. I mean, uh, what are you and compared to these guys? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, wow. but yeah, nowadays it's easier because you know, I built trust, I built my career too, so they were a bit more, you know, they're a bit more indulgent with me, a bit more like understand where I want to go, you know. And so but it's fun. It's really, I mean, it's, I always try to have the much fun I can do in music. I mean, because it's, at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, it's a business, but if it's not fun, you shouldn't do it. I mean, and you can feel it in your playing or on stage or whatever. If it's not fun, forget it. I mean, I saw so many bands that I love. I'm not going to name, but it's becoming a job. You know, everybody hates each other in the band, but they're still together because they know they make money when they're together. But it's just basically money, and but where is the fun there? I mean, and I started music and I started playing guitar because it was fun, and I try to keep it that way.
Well, yeah, because I think of some bands that you're talking about, we won't mention, but it kind of, for the listener themselves, for people that goes to the concert, they can see that, can they? They can see that
Yes,
they're not enjoying themselves.
you obviously can see it. You know, I love Dokken. I love George Lynch. I mean, George, and you know, I met George, and is a great, to me, he's a great guy. You know, it's not like you're in a band with someone, but when we were talking, I say, man, I mean, I saw you even in the heydays, and you can tell something was wrong. You know that, and you feel it. I mean, at one point you're like, you know, it's some bands you can really feel, and the very good bands that hate each other but are on stage and
Yeah.
it seems like they have fun. They're amazing actors. Not only musicians, but I mean, they're amazing actors, because when you hear stories or when you see them backstage fighting, and then on stage and everything's fine, it's so, you know, it's so good. I understand, you know, I mean, that they know that so many bands, when they split up, you know, and they try solo stuff, it doesn't work because there is this chemistry that they have as a musician. Sometimes you can't find it. I mean, and sure, when you start at 20 together, 25, and when you're 50, you might hate the other guy because you don't have the same evolution, you know. I mean, and maybe you see after so many years on tour, whatever, what really bother you about this guy or whatever. But you put this on side and they go on the road and that's it. But you know, it's it's a business. At that point, it's a business. I don't want to achieve that point. Not that I don't want to be successful, but you know, I'd rather be less successful but have a lot of fun.
It's
That's
want to find balance.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. So you've got I've read let's get my notes up now. So I've read you've got a new lineup. You've brought in some new musicians for this new album. Drummer Julian Remer and bassist Vince Brisach. I apologise if I've got the pronunciations wrong.
No.
So what can you tell me about them and what they brought to the new album?
Okay. Well, first off, Vince is not in the band anymore, but we talk about this in a minute.
All right, okay.
Just briefly. But the bass player, Julien, which is his nickname is Baloo, but he brings a lot because he comes from another scene that I was aware of. Of course, I listened to all those kind of stuff. But he's more like a stoner, kind of guy.
Yeah.
And but his bass playing is amazing on this record because he brings something that is a bit different from what you expect. His bass lines, his sound is very heavy. I mean, very and very present, which you need it as a three-piece band. You need someone that is as a presence, not only because he's very tall, but I mean, it's like, but he's amazing, amazing human being, but also his playing is just brings something to the riff that I'm like, wow, when we start to play, it clicked right away. And Vince was bringing on this record, he's very precise and everything. But I mean, we had other issues, nothing, very bad, but it just wanted someone more visual on stage. Because we had Sted Holland on the first, run, which I don't know if you know him from Wasp and everything, but very visual, very charismatic, and we needed someone like that. I mean, again, the three-piece band, you need to have a drummer that can do a show by himself. Like he's not lost behind the drums and six musicians, on stage. You have a bass, a guitar, and of course, the singer, but I mean, and the drummer has to be present, has to be, and he's playing, I mean, has to be very groovy and punchy if you want to. So we have now Farid that was in the band Trust in France, which was a very big band, and he plays more like Vinny, and it's a bit more like Cozy Powell and Vinny, which fits even better the band right now.
Yes, because having listened to the album, I can hear quite a lot of differences, not only just from 80s metal and 90s grunge, but bands like Black Sabbath, Dio, Ozzy Osbourne. Was that your intention to make an album like that?
Well, it wasn't yet. No, intention. No, it's all influences, and this is how it came. I mean, of course, we have all these guys in mind, but we're not sitting and say, well, it has to sound like that. It's more, it comes naturally. But we do the riffs, and then people say, wow, could be a Sabbath song. And you're like, really? And you're not sure of yourself because, I mean, Sabbath is Sabbath. It's untouchable. I mean, Tony Iommi, come on, he created metal,
Yeah, he is.
To me, I always say, I mean, you have all these new bands, and metal bands are amazing, but it's like a New Testament. I mean, Tony is the Bible. It's the first, the original, and it's almost like he created everything, and everything else is a copy with another production or another way to approach it. But Tommy is a god of metal. I mean, if you have Rob for the vocals, you have Tommy for the guitars.
Yeah. So is he somewhat? I know you've had guests in the past. Would he be one of them people? If you had to have a dream guest for any record, would he be one of them then?
Oh, that would be the only one. I mean, if not really. I mean, if you would say, I just play like 10 seconds of a lead or something, I would just be happy. I mean, it's of course, and I think really, I mean, he's a legend. He created metal, and I think he's also underrated as a lead guitar player. Nobody talks about his lead playing, but it's so amazing. He has such a touch, not only for the riffs, but these leads are amazing as well.
Yeah, he's quite similar in some ways to Ritchie Blackmore in the fact that he can kind of invent them out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I think Ritchie Blackmore's a bit more. I think he based it more on music theory, doesn't he? Sort of incorporated sort of classical styles and stuff, but same along the way.
But I mean, the touch, sometimes you can even say that obviously he comes from the blues like a lot of people, but I mean he has also his a touch that sometimes it feels like the David Gilmour of metal. I mean it's so nice, you know, it's so thoughtful, again, notes that he's using. It's amazing, amazing. Just okay, I will stop there. He's gonna think, if he hear this or read this, I mean he's gonna think I'm a groupie.
You never know, might hire you. It's his doubles.
But yeah.
Yes. So was he one of the influences on you growing up then in the
Yes,
industry?
Sonny, Ace Frehley, because of, you know, when I saw Kiss the first time, I was very young. It was like seeing the X-Men on stage. And when I saw Ace, I said, well, I want to be Ace, you know, it's like, and everybody can say anything about his playing, but right away, you know, it's Ace playing, and the sound he had and everything. Kiss without Ace, to me, is not Kiss. I mean, it's missing something, you know, I mean, he has this rowdy rock and roll sound that, you know, sure, I mean, you can have better players, but it's not going to be Ace. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, I love also, you know, Billy Gibbons for the same reason. I mean, first note, you know, it's Billy Gibbons, you know, and all these guys, and of course Gary Moore and Van Halen, but that's another level already.
Yeah.
You know, it's like but Van Halen's the same thing. It's like not only it's complicated sometimes, but it make it looks like it's so easy, but it's also sound real, which it comes really from, you know, his heart and soul. It doesn't come like calculating a solo or trying to show someone, look how fast I can do and all the, you know, you know, scales I can show you in 2 seconds. I mean, it's again, he makes his guitar talk. It's amazing.
So they sort of represent the band that they're in, don't they? They become that identity in a way.
Yeah.
So I was going to talk to you about your new album, Fuel for My Soul, which is out next Friday, isn't it? I think by Crusader Records. So what can you tell me about the album and what people can expect?
Okay. Well, to me, it's heavy rock, hard rock, heavy rock, what do you want to call it, with a lot of, I mean, 70s, 80s, and 90s influence. I mean, you take everything, you mix it, probably with kind of hopefully nowadays sound a bit, you know, that it doesn't look like it sounds like a past album. And we did it. I wrote the songs. We did 40 demos for this album.
That's
And
quite a lot.
yes, and it's the reason is the singer. You know, Butcher was always like, man, I mean, all these bands I love, they always re-interviews. They made 20 songs for the album, whatever. So okay, let's make 40, and we decide then. And then we voted, which, you know, on the 15 that people like, and then we kept the 11 that everybody, you know, was like, okay, we feel good about it. We start to rehearse the songs once we did all the demos with Butcher, and finally we record the album within a week. We went in the studio and we played live. We did overdubs on leads and some and the vocals, and that's it. You know, we wanted to keep that vibe, no overdubs, like not to change everything, not to have a Pro Tool album. That's really what we wanted. We still want to keep that vibe that we grew up on. You know, I mean, you listen to Zeppelin, Van Halen, whatever, or Sabbath, it might be a little mistake here and there, but I mean, that's what makes also the magic of the song. Sometimes you want to change everything to be perfect, and at the end of the day, it becomes really cold. And that's, we try to keep a groove. Hopefully people will feel it. I mean, we try to keep it groovy, you know. I mean, and also we were thinking, well, if we play it live, why should we overdubs and change everything, you know, or do it step by step like some people do in the Pro Tool to be perfect, but then you have to play it live every night. So what are you going to do then?
Yeah, it kind of takes the shine away from the musician, I think.
Yes.
I think with this album, having listened to it, it has that authentic feel about it. It does feel like the band themselves, like you just said, are playing the music that they want to, but it sounds like that what they would be like if you went to go see a concert. So it's like you're not cheating the fans, are you, really?
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what you're going to get. You know, I mean, then of course you have the sound festivals and everything a bit different. But I mean, what is on the album, that's what we play. That's it. You know, I mean, you like it or don't like it. That's after this music. It's question of, you know, you might not like it. I mean, you might love it. We don't know. we we go to the point and we make a record, and then the people decide. You know, you decide if it's good or not, to your taste, to everything. So as long as when we're done for each record, it's like we did the best we could then that day, and it was fun, and that's how we feel about it. That's you have to be, you know, that's a bit more self-centered somewhere. I mean, you know, but I mean, you have to be happy with what you did. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
So
I wouldn't talk to you if I was doubtful about what we
yeah,
did. I'm like,
exactly.
oh my God, you know, I mean, what am I gonna say? The album suck. I don't know. No,
I don't buy it. Don't buy it.
yeah, you know, oh man, you know, I mean, we had so many troubles. No, but I mean, it was
Yeah.
fun, you know, and that's why we love to play it live. But we love to play it live in the studio. We did it, and now we can't wait to be on stage, especially after 2.5 years of COVID.
I think a lot of musicians must be feeling that now. So I think they're making up
Mhm.
for it. The amount of gigs that I
Yeah.
keep seeing they're available.
Yes, and I hope people will be, you know, going out to support local band, big bands, anything. But they have to go out and support that. I mean, it has been 2 crazy years. I mean, let's face it.
I imagine with a lot of musicians, they haven't just been sitting around either, have they? They've been just trying to find a way to get back into it. So
Yes.
that was
Yeah.
likely you then.
Yeah.
And you've got a new track out called Main Attraction. I think is that your third or fourth single.
Yes. Force.
So is that what can you tell me about that track and how that plays a part on the album?
That's a good question, because it's maybe one of the more, I mean, very groove, but very 70s, 80s oriented
Yeah,
song.
it kind of it stands out from the album, doesn't it? It's very different
Yeah,
from the rest of the tracks on it.
yes, it's a very, to me, I mean, to me, not for the band, or not for some people say, oh, it sounds a bit like Ozzy. I don't see Ozzy in there. To me, it's very like exactly, you know, I mean, we have songs that are a bit more Ozzy than that.
Yeah,
To me, it's almost like a a Kiss stuff, you know, like with a big chorus, like whoa, yeah, and all these things, and trying to keep the groove, just something a bit hypnotic, you know, getting always like the same thing coming back, and with after the lead a little bit of demonstration from bass and drums also, and it's a single, but it's longer than what a single should be in a way. And yeah, but I mean, we wanted a big chorus, and I think Butcher did a really good job on it.
yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of the hook. The chorus is the hook, really. It's it sounds like one of them songs that would be very good on probably national radio, particularly over in England or something.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks. Yeah. Hopefully, we cross fingers, but
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah, just good reviews.
yeah.
I think the vocalist, I won't say he sounds exactly like Ozzy. I think he can also sound like Chris Cornell as well. His
Yes.
his
Okay. Yeah.
vocals range through spans, say, maybe like you said, 70s, 80s, 90s, sort of different decades. Really, it's got a good
Yes.
range to him.
It is very versatile. I mean, he's, you know, he loves a lot of the grunge stuff, you know, like Alice in Chains and everything, and I was doubling on some vocals, that, you know, some notes and everything. And he's also completely 80s guy. I mean, that's what is funny. It's the mix is there. He's not so much 70s. He's discovering 70s music more now. With me, especially, you gotta listen to a lot of old records like that. But yeah, he you know, he loves Ozzy, but he loves you know, Chris Cornell and all these guys, and even Dio. You know, I mean, of course, I mean, you can compare his voice to Dio, but he loves to do a lot of covers, so he knows, you know, I mean, he knows where his voice can go, and that's a mix of everything. It's you know, I think it's very interesting. It's in live, he's very good. I mean, it sounds like the album. That's what is amazing too.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want, though, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. have to check the questions.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I've got them on the screen, but I have to sort of minimize it. So going back to, I know I've mentioned the guests, but do you have any guests on this album?
None at all.
No.
We decided
all
to
you.
be really, no, not at all. We decided to be just a band. First, we thought we might have some, and then at the end of the day, we say, hey, you know what? No, we're just gonna do the record like it's the band, and we're gonna be live, and that's it. So no guests, no nothing. That's 100% the band, and that's it.
It said when I was reading up on it, it said that this album had different production to the first album. So would you say this album's more you then, represents more of the band and their sound?
Well, yeah, the first one was a choice to be very raw, like even very 70s, I would say, like not all the stuff. Here, the production is a bit more, we played live, which of course you feel it, I think. And we spent a bit more time on mixing the album. I mean, they did a great job on it. And that's, yeah, I think it's a bit more, that's a bit more our sound as a band that it was on the first album, of course. It's because we're all together and we had time to work on our sound as a band, I mean, it's very important that after rehearsal, it's gonna sound great. I mean, hopefully, when we do it in the studio or live with all the bell and whistle that you have in the studio or even live the production. But it's really raw, but all together. That it's the first one was raw as well, but we were not always all together. So you had some surprise sometimes production wise. You're like, okay, it could have sound differently, but at the time it was good there. I mean, we didn't want to make the same mistake on that record.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going in the right direction with this album then.
Thanks.
So you've Last Temptation, I know I've appeared on stage at acts like Dream Theater and have appeared at Hellfest. So what can you tell me about that experience and how that's played a role on the band?
Well, it was very funny because when we did Dream Theater, it was our agent in Germany said, "Oh, well, I'm gonna put it there. It's the Dream Theater festivals, and you're gonna open for that." But be careful because I mean, Dream Theater fans are not really your fans. I mean, this is not the kind of music they really, enjoy so much sometimes. And I'm like, oh, who cares? It's metal. I mean, it's hard rock, metal, whatever. And but we went to see. Okay, we'll see what happened. And we have this song called "I Win, I Lose" on the first record, and we made people sing usually on it. We have a big part in the middle that the people "I Win, I Lose" with us. I mean, very like anthematic. I mean, it was this song that, and we told the singer, say, look, you tell us if you feel it or not. If we do this break but after the second song, people start to, headbang, and they were singing chorus they never heard. So he said, let me do it. Let's do the "I Win, I Lose." And actually it went very, very well. Even the agent was like surprised that people were singing these kind of songs. And but that's the singer. I mean, Bucho has a good feeling about the public. He comes really. People see he's enjoying to be there. So you can only have a smile if you see the band having a smile. I mean, it's like, yeah, that's really what we created. And the Hellfest, of course, was amazing. I mean, same thing. People were like, you playing at 11 something in the morning. There might not be people there, and actually, they already had like 27,000 people in. We didn't have this 27,000. We probably have like 15 to 20,000. But same thing. We start to have the crowd, and we start the same song, "I Win, I Lose," and people were like all into it, and we had raving reviews. I'm very happy, and people enjoyed it. So we can wait this year to be back on this stage. I mean, I think we have a better groove now to be all together. So it might be interesting. We'll see.
So, like you said, you going back on stage this year. So is that more festivals then?
No, we're waiting. I mean, we can't announce everything because it's like, everybody wants to go out. So there is a
It's
lot of traffic, I would say, you know, for we're waiting to announce some opening, you know, stuff with big bands. So it's going to be some tours and then touring in September, October as well. Um, and we plan, you know, we're planning really to tour till December, and we're already working on the third album as well. So
busy guy then.
yes, yes. Well, we love that. You know, I mean, it's people say, "How you do it?" Well, you know, sometimes I up at 4, but I mean, it's all for fun. I mean, you know, beside you have to take care of the business, like you have to take care of, you know, uh, all the logistic for the tour, all the logistic for everything, and then you know, I mean, you have time to rehearse and you have time to write songs, and but that's our passion. We're lucky to be able to do something we love, you know. And so yeah, I mean, there is festivals, but I mean, we probably soon we're gonna announce some tour or some you know, guest spot on with some bands that are pretty cool.
So do you have any bands in particular that you'd like to go on tour with?
Wow. Yeah, a lot of you know, I mean, of course, it goes from Ozzy Osbourne
Yeah, imagine
or
he's a
Black
tough guy to
or
get,
Black
isn't
Label.
he?
Or Black Label, you know, I mean, because I mean, I don't know if Ozzy will tour, and he probably will tour next year, but I think it's with Judas Priest anyway. So, um, but yeah, I mean, opening for Kiss will be amazing. You know, even one show would be amazing. But we're also looking at with younger guys, you know, younger bands that we love, like the new Aaron Jones stuff. You know, I think it would be a good crossover if we can do shows with them. Um, and he's at Hellfest. You know, everybody was like, "Well, it's kind of a Lenny Kravitz, every year Lenny Kravitz." Yeah, well, but he's still on Hellfest, so you know, I think we love Rival Sons. You know, and Rival Sons are amazing. Blackstone Cherry, all these bands that, you know, I
They're
mean,
good
I think,
bands, yeah.
oh yeah, they're amazing bands on stage, and they have great songs and everything, and a good vibe, actually, you know.
I saw them before they were famous in about 2007. They were supporting a band called Hinder. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah. I think they've gone on to bigger success than Hinder. You don't really hear much about them anymore.
yeah, it's true, true, and you know, I mean, you look at them. I mean, they enjoy the stage too. I mean, you can tell
Yeah,
they're happy to be there, you know, and that's what it's all about.
but it's good
And
that you can help each other out because not only are you introducing the audience to different styles of music, but you're also helping to elevate one another, aren't you? So,
yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, it's not like we're a jazz, you know, band or a blues band. I mean, that something doesn't fit, I mean, the bill. But I think the crossover, I mean, when you have like, you know, bands like this, you know, like Aaron Jones, like Jackson Berry, or um Crowbot. I mean, I love Crowbot, you
I
know.
like Crowbar, yeah.
Oh man, there's the groove and everything. It's the same thing. It's, you can tell they have fun, and I think that's very important, you know. But I wouldn't say no to Def Leppard. I mean, you know, that's the cross that I do. It's like, yeah, you know, and all these bands are just amazing to be around. You know, I mean, they have great songs. They have a, you know, very positive attitude, which is pretty good, I think.
It's always another plus, really, isn't it? If you can find a band that have got a good attitude, helps
Yes,
each other out. And I suppose it
yes.
makes it more of the experience as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, it's like you don't deal with egos and everything. It's saying, um, yeah, it's just for fun. Again, you know, but then again, you know, I was lucky to be, I opened for AC/DC with another band in 2010. And they're still, you know, we see them on stage and everything, and they have fun. I mean, on stage and everything, and the band is fun. You know, the songs and everything. It's just wow, you know.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think Angus Young is about my mum's age, but he still goes around like he's 20, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's
So
it.
much
You know, it's
energy.
so it's nuts. You know, I mean, I was thinking about this with Alice Cooper the same way. You know, I mean, we played with Alice Cooper a long time ago also, and he was already not that young, but a guy enjoy himself all the time, and such a nice guy. You know, backstage and everything, just no ego, just amazing. I mean, he knows what he did. He doesn't need to show it, you know, and that's amazing. I mean, it's like, wow, you know, you're humbled by that, you know. exactly.
It sounds like it sounds like you got a lot of ideas about going forward, people you want to meet and all that. You had a good experience. I'll
Yeah.
have to ask you one final question, which is a question I ask every musician. But so
Uh-oh.
what's next for Last Temptation then? Well, particularly this year and going forward.
Well, we have shows coming up. That's what we want. We want to play a lot, and during the break that we won't be playing, like summer or maybe fall, we're gonna start to record a new album already for hopefully a spring release. We have a lot of songs. I mean, I got a lot of riffs already, and we can't wait to do that. We have the album just came out. Then the vinyl is going to come on in September, so we're going to do another video for that. We have a new video coming out for the 20th, for the day of the release. We just got today the final video that we're going to release on the 20th for Fuel for My Soul. That is also the title of the album. And now getting prepared for June, the Hellfest, and probably other shows right now that I can sadly not announce yet.
Yeah,
which is very frustrating.
Can't give any exclusives just yet.
but yeah, I mean, we're getting ready really for Hellfest and to have fun with people and meet people, you know. And for the release part, we have a release party in Paris which is more meet and greet, which is free.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm a bit far away from Paris.
You know.
I could have gone.
Yeah, but yeah, we can wait, and we can wait to see people again, having fun, you know, watching us and watching all the bands that we love. I mean, that's really, I mean, in a way that this year is you know, I mean, hopefully people will find a way to have fun all the time, because, you know, again, we've been very frustrated, I think everybody, not to be able to go to shows, not to be able to meet people, you know, all the social stuff, you know. I mean, it's great to have Facebook and everything for you know, I would say making yourself, you know, available, but I mean, it's better to meet in person. It's better, you know, to have a beer with the people. It's better to have fun with these people, and after to meet them, and, you know, I have a one-on-one conversation that's, you know, that's even better, you know.
Well, I think I'm coming to the end, saying
Okay.
it. Well, I think it's coming to the end because it's saying I've got about 1 minute remaining. So, but thank you
Okay.
very much anyway for taking the time out. I've really enjoyed
No,
the conversation. It's been very interesting to hear your take on not only the music industry, but your take on the album. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I go?
I really hope to be able to come to the UK and play. I mean, that's really what we want, you know. I mean, it seems that we have good reaction, you know. I mean, we have good feedbacks right now from UK. So now the next step will be to play. So we really hope to find a way to come there. I mean, and to be able to meet all these people as well, you know, and have fun in the UK as much as we'll have fun anywhere.
I hope to see you there one day.
Yes. Hopefully soon.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Thanks so much too. I mean, for, you know, taking time to interview and everything, and liking the album. That's you know, I mean, it's always nice to hear that we did something right. Hopefully, you know, for some people at least.
Thank you very much anyway.
No, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon, maybe for
Hopefully,
the next record.
No doubt you probably will get another chance.